Yo, what's up everyone? My name is Andrew Warren, and in today's video, we're going to be doing another portfolio update, a transparency update with the stocks that I currently own in my portfolio. So with these videos, I like to talk about the stock market, how I'm feeling currently, my predictions for the future, and of course, my gains and losses for today. Today was another one of those all-time high days for the portfolio. My portfolio is at the highest amount that it has ever been at. As you can see, I've only been investing since December, so this is only like 7 months of investing so far, and I'm already up 34.64% for just the past 7 months. So that's already more than 3 years worth of growth for an ETF like VOO or a typical index fund with a 10% growth rate. But I thought that was really crazy, and I'm really excited to see this happening with my portfolio gaining growth this fast. As you can see, I have near $25,000 in gains just for 7 months worth of investing. So think about that. $25,000 gained passively in 7 months. That's definitely a huge accomplishment. For one thing, the thing that I really like to preach in my videos is that I'm making money while I sleep. I'm doing exactly what rich investors have preached to people, to where they commonly tell people you want to be making money while you sleep. That's one of the only ways you can be very successful and retire early, is to figure out a way to make money while you're sleeping, and it's all about the passive income. So that's why I like to choose these stocks. For one thing, my setup on my stock portfolio currently, as you all know, I own 3 main stocks. This is just a free stock, but as you all know, when I pick a stock to hold until retirement. So I make sure that I choose one that I could see being a high quality long-term stock to hold for the next 40 years. So I'm not picking stocks that I think I can only hold for like 4 or 5 years. I'm picking ones that I think will do well even in the long term. And especially when you're picking long-term stocks, it seems like there's a lot more passiveness to it, because that's one of my major goals with it as well, is not to only pick one that I can hold for the next 40 years, but the benefits to that are that I simply don't have to really mess with it at all to gain money. It's not like I'm constantly having to redistribute my portfolio or do a swing trade or do a short-term sell or short a stock. And a lot of that is a little bit less passive income than what I consider me doing right now, which is just buying and holding long term, and I just let the market do its thing. And there's really not much effort that goes into this. So that's one of my goals, which is to invest with a long-term perspective, but make sure that it's the most passive income possible, with not having to like deal with a bunch of redistribution of my portfolio and buying stocks here and there and switching out stocks. And just constantly having to do things within your portfolio that takes time and gets in the way of other things that you could be doing. So that's something that I take a little pride in with my portfolio. It's not only just the unique investment method that I use, which is concentration rather than diversification, but I also like the fact that I really don't have to put a lot of time into investing when I already know what I'm going to buy. So as of right now, I'm just adding more to my positions rather than adding new different stocks. So I do take a little bit of pride in this portfolio when it comes to me not having to actively invest, in that it's just super passive income, but it's still a really successful strategy so far. So as always, if y'all do enjoy this type of content where I do these portfolio updates, talk about the stock market, share my feelings, then please make sure to smash that like button. I really do appreciate it, and it definitely helps me out so much, especially with getting these videos recommended to newer people. But as I mentioned, this is something that I'm really excited about. I never thought that I would be this near 100K this soon. And honestly, if Tesla just keeps going on a tear and Microsoft gains a little bit and Apple at least, just stays where it's at, I could hit 100K a lot sooner than I think. However, at this point, I'm kind of expecting like a pullback since Tesla has just skyrocketed so much. I still remember the day that Tesla was up like 18% one day, and then the next day it was up like 16%. And I know the third day is when it finally pulled back. So I feel like I can't remember in my mind at least a 3-day streak where Tesla was up significantly. So if Tesla's up Monday again, that's something to keep in mind, because at least with my memories, I only remember 2 major days in a row as a streak, and then the third day is a red day. So it would definitely be a big deal to have 3 big green days like this for Tesla. But it's definitely possible the way the stock's going right now, and especially with the potential of this stock being included in the S&P 500, especially with talks of Tesla potentially being profitable in Q2 of 2020. If they are profitable, then that means it will be the 4th quarter in a row that Tesla has beat expectations and was profitable for those quarters, meaning that it also qualifies to be included in the the S&P 500. So like I said, firms and individual investors will probably purchase this stock even more if it does get included in the S&P 500. And that's another big potential stock mover as well in the future if it does happen. But that's enough of looking at the all-time chart. If we look at the past 3 months, we're up 49.79%. Past month, we're up 20.69%. Past week, we're up 9.96%. That's crazy. About 8,800 in just 1 week. That's insane. And then the past day, we're up like 3.82% if we count both today and the after hours. But as you can see, just for the normal market hours, we're up 3.56% or $3,326. And then after hours is plus 0.26%, which is $256 about it. So just looking at the market, we had a really steady, solid green day in the stock market. And in my opinion, this is exactly the type of day you want to get in the stock market. This is one of the more ideal green days that a person can have. And when I get a day like this, I always get excited because this is just pure consistency. Because when you look at the chart and it's basically a straight line across, that's always good news for the market in my opinion, because it's exemplifying that consistency. And rather than it just being like your typical stock market day where, let's say it's a red day, it starts out in the green and it spikes down at the end and it ends up being a red day, or it starts out in the red and ends in the green, and you know, a bunch of volatility here and there, up and down. That's something that we're used to, but rarely do you see just total consistency like this within the stock market day. So like I said, this is one of the more ideal movements that you would like to see if you're an investor. This is definitely a day pattern that I prefer. It almost looks weird just seeing the line way above the baseline and just going straight across. It almost doesn't even look like a stock chart. But like I said, especially when I have a day like this where we're over like 3% in gains, it's just totally crazy. I mean, I've had a few days like this so far. Like yesterday was a good day as well. But I'm actually wondering if this could be one of my all-time high growth days, because I know when I hit like $3,500 in one day, I did a video recently and I was talking about how it was like my biggest day of all time. So considering this in the after hours, this could be one of my biggest days today. And especially in the morning before the market started today, it was showing the after hours for in the morning, and it was also showing the today part, which was from yesterday, and that was like $5,000 in gains. I still have the screenshot, but it was like $2,000 in after hours and like $3,000 in the today section. So I thought that was crazy. That's probably the most growth I've ever seen, but that was because we were just a few minutes away from the new market today, and it included the after hours for that, plus what happened yesterday. But just to share my thoughts about the market currently, it's just one of those things that there's a reason why they say don't try to time the market. There's a reason why many investors think that dollar cost averaging is the way to go. I'm definitely a believer in dollar cost averaging, because when you're constantly trying to time the market based off of predicting whether it's going to drop or go up in the future, then it makes it a little bit difficult, because as we know, the market is totally unpredictable. Many people right now have missed out on a lot of potential gains because they've been sitting on the sidelines with cash, because they don't believe that the market is realistic in comparison to the actual economy and what is happening in society right now. So this is definitely a surprise to many people in the stock market for it to still be performing this well. And that's one of the things that I like to really emphasize, and it truly goes along with a common statement that you really shouldn't time the market, or you shouldn't try to, because it's very difficult to predict the exact peak and predict the exact bottom to where you get the perfect buy-in and the perfect profits. And if you miss out on either the peak or the bottom, then it could completely skew your profits and your gains. So in my opinion, like I said, dollar cost averaging is just the way to go, because you can never predict if it's actually going to go up or down in the future, unless it's just one of those obvious stocks that you can predict based off of things like, for example, you have Microsoft and Shopify, which does very well in this Rona environment, because as we know, businesses are being shut down, but those excel because they have a big online focus. Like with e-commerce, they do very well in times where there's shutdowns, because it shows the advantage of that business compared to your typical retail businesses. But my point is that it's very difficult for, as an investor, you or me, to say, I know exactly what the market's going to do tomorrow, or I know exactly what the market's going to do in the next week or so. So based on that, I'm going to buy this stock or I'm not going to buy this stock. So that's just one of the things that I like to think of, because it's really pretty much impossible to predict what the market's going to do. So sometimes the best idea, in my opinion, is to just buy in. I'd rather be in the game than on the sidelines waiting for an opportunity that does not come. And honestly, given the idea of a crash in the future, at this point, I don't think the second wave of the Rona is as big as a threat that people think it's going to be. It seems like now, yes, there's more cases, but we also have a lot more testing, and the death rate is a lot lower because I think they've adjusted how they actually classify Rona deaths. It's not just like if someone dies from another thing, they're automatically classified as a Rona death. I don't believe it's like that anymore, so now things are starting to get a lot more accurate in terms of recording these medical records on people with the Rona. So yes, there's still the potential of that fear coming back if the media has a focus on the Rona again. It seems like they've kind of forgotten about that a little bit. And also, I think that people just don't want to enter into another lockdown. I'm a public health person myself. I graduated with a degree in public health last year, but I can't help but think about the negative consequences if there is another nationwide lockdown. Honestly, I think there would be more indirect deaths and health outcomes because of another lockdown compared to if we just had no lockdowns with the Rona and everybody went as usual. And I definitely don't mean that in any heartless way. I'm just saying that I would rather have everything open and for me to still socially distance myself. Like, for example, I haven't really gone anywhere over the past 7 months or so because my mom has an autoimmune disease, so I don't want to put her at risk. That's the main reason I've been staying inside for the past few months or so. So at this point, I'm kind of in the boat where I don't want anyone to get the Rona, but I also think it would be more damaging to just everyone nationwide if there was another lockdown. There would be a lot of problems, just civil unrest, people worried about losing all of their retirement funds like a 401k, and also it's just a mentally taxing thing to just stay inside and not have human interaction with other people. So I'm kind of leaning towards the boat of just leaving everything open and then letting the people decide if they want to stay home. Of course, still make it a thing to wear masks and stuff like that, but to just give the people the freedom to make those decisions. Personally, I'm still going to be playing it safe. I haven't been able to hang out with a lot of my friends recently because of that, but it's worth it to keep my family members safe and stuff like that. So that's my opinion on the lockdown, and I think people are starting to think similarly as well. So that's just my perspective. I think people have a lot less fear for the Rona because, for one thing, we already have experience with the first wave. This is not like a new uncharted territory for us. So that's one good thing as well. We have the advantage of experience this time around. And we're at pretty high case rates right now. As I said, that's because more people are getting tested. And it seems like the general idea is that people are pretty calm right now. There's nothing, where people aren't going crazy over this or really worrying about it. I think the media is fear-mongering a little bit, but their focus is less on the Rona now. But like I said, I'm going to be playing it safe and staying inside. But I think in terms of just saving the economy, saving everyone's mental health, and just overall with returning to the status quo, I feel like a lot of people are just leaning towards just having the freedom to go where you want and having businesses open, but still trying to encourage people to wear masks and stuff like that. So I think that's something people are starting to lean towards a little bit more. Like I said, we're used to the Rona situation now, so it's not really uncharted territory. It's not really anything new, and I think that's an advantage for investors because a lot of the reasons why people tend to panic sell is because they have uncertainty and they're worried about the near future. Honestly, if the stock market is going to crash in the future, I think it's much more likely going to be due to the election or fears around the upcoming election. We had the same situation occur in 2008, just a few months before the election. So in my opinion, if the stock market is going to crash, it's either going to be a combination of the upcoming election and a potential another lockdown with the Rona, or just the election alone, in my opinion. So if there is another crash, that's what I think is going to lead to it. But keep in mind, a lot of people are really aggravated that they missed out on this most recent bottom here on March 23rd. And so a lot of people are mad at themselves because they sat on the sidelines and didn't buy the dip. So this time around, there's a lot of people waiting with cash on the sidelines. So even if there is like another crash or another dip, I think a lot of people may buy it enough to make sure that it's not a long-term crash and just maybe a big dip day and then the next day recover a little bit. Because like I said, there are people waiting to take advantage of another dip in the future. They're waiting for that. You have people like Beat the Bush that sold out and is waiting to take advantage of a dip. So keep that in mind. Even if there is another crash, there's a lot of people waiting to fill the places of those individuals that panic sell. So it does even out a little bit there. That's something to consider at least. But just talking about the gains and losses for today, we'll go ahead and start off with Microsoft stock. As you can see, we're at plus 0.94% today, or plus $374.40. And for the total return, we finally reached over 20%. We're at plus 20.56%, or plus $6,870. So a great day for Microsoft. Pretty volatile towards the start, but we were still pretty high above the market at that 0.94% marker. So I'm definitely satisfied with that. And then next up, we have Tesla, the most interesting stock that I own, in my opinion. It's something that I love talking about. And I just love seeing those days where Tesla is just up tremendously. As you can see, we're at plus 8.36% for the day, or over $3,000, plus $3,181. That's a huge moment right there. That's a big deal to gain $3,000 in one day just from one stock. And then total return, we're at plus 44.66%, or plus $12,734. So I'm definitely excited about that. We've had a really good return on Tesla. To think that I'm almost at 50% return just for like 4 months of holding the stock, or 5 months of holding the stock. Then finally, we have Apple stock, which we're up just barely today, 0.20%. Honestly, like I said, I'll take that. And I've said this in other videos as well. Even if Apple was just stagnant and stayed where it was over the next few weeks or so, I wouldn't be disappointed, because Apple has been skyrocketing recently. So we gained about $31 today. In total, we're at plus 27.59%, or plus $3,313. So I'm really satisfied with every stock that I own. I'm still holding on to this free stock, hoping that it recovers to that eventual baseline so I can sell. But that's pretty much what I'm doing. My thoughts about the market. I told you how I feel about the potential of another crash and stuff like that. So I just wanted to run through with my portfolio just again today, just to add this little transparency update and upload it. So if y'all did enjoy this video, please make sure to smash that like button. I really do appreciate it. And like I said, it helps me out. And also, if you would like to begin investing, feel free to use my referral link in the description to Robinhood and Webull. If you sign up with my link, then we'll both get some free stocks. HLX is an example of one of those free stocks, and it's nice passive income regardless. But anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week, and happy early 4th of July. Happy Independence Day. Shout out to America.